Hi girls, Daddy's here again. This time with another Fairies of the Blossom Bakery. This one's called Plum and the Winter Ball. That must be Princess Plum. Brr. It was a fine frosty morning in the Fairy Cake Kingdom. Straight after breakfast, Plum the Fairy put on her coat and rushed out to the garden. "Perfect weather for fruit picking," she exclaimed. She fluttered happily up and down, filling her basket with juicy berries and plums. "I'll make a cake and a fruit crumble," she chattered. "Ooh, and a few jars of jam too." The excited fairy reached out to pick a shiny blackberry when, ting, a tiny white snowflake landed on her nose. Plum blinked. "It's the first snowflake of winter," she gasped. The first snowflake of winter was the start of something special. It began the countdown to the Royal Winter Ball. When Plum arrived to help at the Blossom Bakery Cafe, all the fairies were talking about it. "Where will it be?" wondered Button. "What will we wear?" cooed Butterfly. Cupcake smiled at her friends. "Would you put this poster up for me?" she asked Plum. Plum unrolled a silver sheet of parchment. Sparkle, Cookie, Button and Butterfly all gathered round. "It's for the winter ball," she cried. "It's next Saturday." Plum and her friends gazed up at the poster. "You are invited to the Fairy Cake Kingdom Royal Winter Ball, an evening of music, sparkles and ice skating. Come to the seeing pool on Saturday to celebrate the crowning of the Snow Belle. Please bring something sweet to eat." Who will be the Snow Belle this year?" whispered Sparkle. "That's for Princess Crystal to decide," replied Cookie. "The Snow Belle will get to wear her special sparkly tiara." "I wish it could be one of us," gushed Butterfly, fluttering into the air. Plum didn't even dare to dream of such a thing. Only truly magical fairies were chosen for an honor like that. It snowed all day and it snowed all night. As if by magic, Fairy Cake Kingdom turned into a winter wonderland. "Can't be late," puffed Plum, bustling along the path as she buttoned up her coat. She had a date to meet her fairy friends at the frozen seeing pool. Whoosh! A chilly breeze sent the little fairy's mittens and hat tumbling into the air. She fluttered after them, then dropped her skates in the snow. "How will I ever manage to glide gracefully?" wondered Plum. "I can't even carry my skates properly." She picked up her skates and then set off after her mittens and hat. Too late. The winter wind had already whisked them high above the trees. "Oh, bother," sighed Plum. "Now they're gone for good." By the time Plum got to the seeing pool, her friends were already pirouetting around the ice. They looked so elegant that they made their twirls and figures at 8. "Come on," called Butterfly. "It's heaps of fun." Plum laced up her skates and then took a deep breath. Her heart fluttered. "I'll hold your hand," said Cupcake kindly. Plum tried her best, but it was hopeless. Every time she took a step, she fell over. Soon her legs ached and her hands felt cold. "Where are your mittens?" asked Cookie. "I lost them," said Plum sadly. Every day there was something new to do for the Royal Winter Ball. Plum and her friends went to the elf market to buy ingredients for their cakes and bakes. "I'm bringing gingerbread fairies," said Cookie. Button turned to Plum. You must do your scrummy fruit sponge, she smiled. It's perfect for winter weather. Shall we go back for tea at the Blossom Bakery Cafe? Suggested Cupcake. Oh yes, nodded Button. We can talk about the snowbell. It's bound to be someone glamorous. I'm afraid I'm busy this afternoon, replied Plum. With a wave and a smile, she fluttered on her way. As soon as she was out of sight, Plum dashed over to the seeing pool. A fairy like me has no business daydreaming about the snowbell, she sighed. I can't even skate. Plum waited until all the other skaters had gone home. After a while, only Nana Puff was left, busy setting up a hot chocolate stall for the ball. Slowly and carefully, Plum stepped out onto the shimmering ice. I can't give up, she said bravely. Plum skated all afternoon. The plucky fairy lost count of the time she fell over, but she kept trying. I'm not half as good as my friends, she said quietly, but I'm getting better. Yes, you are, said a proud voice. Plum looked up to see Nana Puff beaming back at her. You've worked very hard, but you look frozen, replied Nana Puff. Come on, sweetness, home time. Plum got up early on Saturday. She had worked late into the night, stitching a special dress for the Royal Winter Ball. Now it was just hours away, and she was baking her special treat. A few more berries, and this will be good enough to eat. She slipped her arm through her basket, then popped outside to pick some. Chip-de-diddly-dee! Oh, hello to you too, smiled Plum, waving at a merry little robin. Oh my! Sunbeams danced across the snowy garden, making it glitter like diamonds. Plum's poor little fingers trembled without any mittens to keep them warm, but she didn't complain. This really is my favourite time of year, she sighed happily. She decided to stop and play for a little while. Plum was still busy making snow fairies when Cupcake peeped over the garden fence. Come along, Plum, she called. It's time for the winter ball. Oh, goodness, gasped Plum. I forgot the time. The flustered fairy darted indoors, leaving a trail of berries behind her. Cupcake helped her friend put on her shimmering gossamer gown, stitched in delicate layers of silver, purple and blue. What a pretty party dress, she exclaimed. Thank you, blushed Plum. I made it myself. It was time to go. I'll just get my tin, said Plum, rushing into the kitchen. She picked it up with both hands, but her fingers were still shivering from the garden. Oh no! The cake slid out of the tin all over her new dress. Poor Plum burst into tears. Let's get you changed, then scoop up the cake, suggested Cupcake. We can sort everything out once we get there. No fairy should be late for the Royal Winter Ball. As soon as Plum stepped outside, her friends wrapped her in a big fairy hug. Don't worry about your cake, said Cookie. It will still taste scrummy. Plum tried to smile, but inside she felt sad. Her cake was ruined. She'd lost her mittens, and she was a terrible skater. But when Plum arrived at the seeing pool, even she forgot about her rotten luck. The Royal Winter Ball was spectacular. Look, exclaimed Butterfly. There's Princess Crystal's glittery ice throne. Let's put our cakes down, suggested Sparkle. Then we can skate, added Button. First things first, said Cupcake, handing Plum a pair of silvery mittens. Cookie's face lit up. You can't skate without mittens. We've clubbed together to buy a new pair." "Thank you," cried Plum, slipping them on. They fitted perfectly. Plum still wasn't sure about skating, but she was determined to try her best. "Just take a deep breath," she whispered bravely, lacing up her skates. The first notes of a beautiful fairy waltz echoed around the seeing pool. Plum held out her arms and started to glide. "I'm dancing on ice," she laughed, taking in the atmosphere. Soon she was so busy whirling and twirling, she didn't notice her friends bustling round the banquet table. Just then the music stopped. "It's time to announce the Snowbell," said Butterfly in a hushed voice. "This year's fairy never gives up, even when things are difficult," announced Princess Crystal, winking at Nana Puff. "Congratulations, Snowbell Plum." Cheers and whoops echoed across the seeing pool. Plum blinked in surprise as her friends helped her make her way to the Princess Crystal. "You are truly magical young fairy," smiled Her Majesty, "inside and out." But my terrible cake," stuttered Plum. Princess Crystal looked confused. "It's a baking sensation," she exclaimed. Cupcake, Cookie, Button, Sparkle and Butterfly gathered round the banqueting table. "I don't think the cake was so bad," piped up Cupcake. She lifted up Plum's tin to reveal a stunning upside-down pudding with shimmering fruit on top. "What happened?" gasped Plum. "It just needs a sprinkle of winter magic," whispered Sparkle. All Plum's dreams had come true. Her hard work had paid off, her cake looked beautiful, and it was all thanks to the magic of her fairy friends. The end.